The Grand Senate of the Galactic Empire was one of the most magnificent halls in the galaxy. It stretched farther than the eye could see, filled with rows upon rows of alien representatives from thousands of star systems. Towering pillars of crystal reached toward the ceiling, glowing with soft blue light. The Empire liked to display its power not only through fleets and armies, but also through its buildings. Every detail screamed authority, wealth, and pride. In this chamber, decisions were made that shaped entire civilizations. But today's session was not about wars, taxes, or trade disputes. It was about something far smaller, something that many senators thought hardly deserved a mention: a little blue planet called Earth. A short alien senator with scales of deep green stood in the center of the chamber, holding up a glowing datapad. His voice echoed through the translation systems, reaching every corner of the hall. Honored members of the Empire, he began with mock seriousness. We have received a message from the planet Earth. A ripple of amusement moved across the chamber. Some senators exchanged looks of disbelief. Others smirked or chuckled openly. The speaker continued, enjoying the reaction. They claim they are ready to step into interstellar politics, he announced. They request recognition as an independent starfaring civilization. And, he paused, clearly waiting for the moment, they insist on being treated as equals. The chamber erupted into laughter. Senators of dozens of species slapped their seats, stomped their claws, or let out strange alien sounds of amusement. To them this was comedy. Equals? Shouted a large bear-like senator from the northern quadrants. How can a race that only just discovered faster-than-light travel even dream of equality? Another senator, tall and insectoid, clicked her mandibles in mock sympathy. Perhaps they do not know how vast the galaxy is. Poor little planet dreaming above its station. The laughter continued, echoing again and again through the chamber. But not everyone was laughing. In one of the higher rows, Senator Corral of the Vayari people sat silently, her golden eyes narrowed. She had studied the reports more carefully than the others. Earth had been a quiet world, unnoticed for centuries, but in the last 100 years its progress had been astonishing. They had moved from primitive machines to advanced starships faster than any species she knew. Corral tapped her clawed finger against her chair, thoughtful. Still, even she could not deny the absurdity of humans demanding equality with the Galactic Empire. The Empire was 10,000 years old. Its fleets covered the stars. Whole civilizations had bent to its power. Compared to that, Earth was a child. The presiding officer of the Senate, a massive alien with a shimmering crest on his head, finally raised his hand to silence the noise. Enough. While their request is laughable, it must be recorded. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of this Earth? The silence that followed was sharp and heavy. No one raised a voice. No one stood. The chamber was united in its scorn. Very well, the officer declared. The request is denied. The humans will remain unrecognized. If they continue to disturb us with such claims, they shall be warned. And if they persist, our fleets will remind them of their place. The vote was quick. Thousands of glowing lights filled the air, nearly all of them red for rejection. Only a handful turned blue, signaling abstention. Not a single green light appeared for approval. The matter was decided. The chamber dissolved into chatter once more, the senators mocking the humans as they prepared to move on to more important matters. But beneath the laughter, something else lingered, something unspoken. The humans had dared. Far away, on Earth across the stars, in a quiet command room deep beneath the surface of Earth, a group of human leaders watched the decision unfold. Hidden satellites relayed the Senate's broadcast, and every word was recorded. Some of the humans looked discouraged. Others looked angry. But one man, Admiral Jonathan Hale, only leaned back in his chair, a faint smile on his face. They laughed, said one of the younger officers, slamming his fist against the table. They don't take us seriously. They don't even think we exist as equals. Good, Admiral Hale replied calmly. His voice carried the steady weight of experience. Let them laugh. The longer they laugh, the less they prepare. The room grew quiet. Hale pointed at the massive screen showing the Senate chamber. The Galactic Empire believes we are weak. They believe we are nothing. That is their first mistake. We will make sure it is also their last. Another officer, older and cautious, raised a concern. Admiral, their fleets are massive. Their weapons are older than our entire civilization. They have the strength to wipe out systems. Do we really stand a chance? Hale's eyes turned sharp. They underestimate us because we are new. But new does not mean weak. Every battle they have ever fought is stored in their records. Every tactic they have ever used, every mistake they ever made, we have studied them all. While they wasted centuries in arrogance, we built with urgency. That is our advantage. The men and women in the room exchanged looks. Slowly, one by one, determination replaced doubt. Earth had always been underestimated, first by itself, then by the stars. But humanity had survived everything the universe had thrown at it. Survival was in their nature, and now survival was about to become victory. Back in the Senate, the laughter of the Empire continued long after the vote. Jokes spread quickly across the systems. In news feeds, cartoons of humans in primitive spacesuits were shown bowing before massive alien emperors. Merchants sold toys of tiny human ships being crushed by Empire war cruisers. To the Empire, Earth was nothing but entertainment. But among the laughter, Senator Karel sat quietly, her golden eyes still watching the data feeds. She replayed the human message again and again, listening to the steady tone of the human ambassador's voice. There had been no fear in it, no begging, no false pride either, only calm confidence. Something about it unsettled her. She turned to her assistant, a small bird-like being who carried her datapads. "Prepare a report on Earth," she said quietly. "Everything we know. History, wars, science, culture. I want it all." The assistant tilted his head, confused. "Why, Senator? The matter is finished." "The humans were denied." "Perhaps," she replied. Her gaze lingered on the screen, where the human ambassador's calm face faded into static. But sometimes laughter hides fear, and sometimes the smallest ember can light the largest fire. The assistant did not understand, but he obeyed. As the Senate moved on to discuss trade routes and taxation, Karel's mind remained far away, on a small blue planet that no one else cared about. And in that quiet place of thought, a strange feeling began to grow, something the Galactic Empire had long forgotten: unease. The laughter of the Galactic Empire spread across the stars like a storm of mockery. News channels replayed the Senate's decision again and again, with commentators joking about Earth's arrogance. Merchants made cheap holographic toys showing human ships being chased by massive Empire cruisers. Even military academies used Earth as a case study of overconfidence by a primitive race. To the galaxy, Earth was a story to laugh at. To humanity, it was fuel. Hidden under mountains deep beneath the Rocky Mountains of North America, a vast command center hummed with activity. It had no windows, no sunlight, only steel walls lined with glowing screens and command tables. Soldiers and scientists moved quickly, voices calm but urgent. At the center of it all stood Admiral Jonathan Hale, the man who had spoken calmly when others shouted with anger. His sharp eyes scanned reports on holographic displays. Every number mattered. Every detail counted. "Status of Fleet 1? Hale asked. A young officer stepped forward. "All ships have completed engine upgrades, Admiral. Shield testing is 90% complete. Final trials scheduled for tomorrow." "Fleet 2? Hale pressed. "Halfway through weapons integration. The plasma rail systems are performing above expectation. Engineers believe efficiency is 30% higher than projections." Hale allowed himself a small nod. Humanity was moving faster than anyone thought possible. The Empire believed Earth was years away from building real fleets, but hidden projects had been running for decades. Since the moment humans discovered they were not alone, Earth had prepared. The secret of humanity's speed. The Empire did not understand humanity's greatest strength: adaptation. Other civilizations took centuries to accept new technologies. They debated, delayed, and grew comfortable in their traditions. The Empire was the worst of all. With its 10,000-year history, it believed no invention could truly surprise it. But humans were different. Their history was filled with wars, disasters, and challenges. They had learned to build under pressure, to innovate in crisis, to survive with little. When they discovered faster-than-light travel, they had not waited for permission. They had raced forward. From small colonies on Mars and Europa to massive stations hidden in the asteroid belt, humanity had spread quickly. And in secret, they had built ships not meant to explore but to defend. The War Room Admiral Hale stood before a massive star map. It displayed the known borders of the Galactic Empire, glowing red across half the galaxy. Earth was a tiny blue point on the edge, almost invisible. Around the table sat the commanders of Earth's growing fleets. Each came from different nations: America, China, India, Russia, Africa, Europe, South America, but here they were united. General Liu, calm and precise, spoke first. The Empire's fleets number in the millions. Their weapons are ancient but powerful. If they send their full force, we cannot match them ship for ship. General Vargas, a broad-shouldered man with a voice like thunder, slammed his hand on the table. Then we do not fight ship for ship. We fight smarter. We use what they cannot predict. Hale nodded. Exactly. We cannot defeat the Empire in a battle of size, but we do not need to. We only need to show them that Earth cannot be crushed. If we can prove that, the galaxy will see us differently. Commander Aisha Khan leaned forward, her dark eyes sharp. Psychological warfare, she said. If we break their confidence, we break their control. Empires rule by fear. Take away fear and their power weakens. The room fell into thoughtful silence. Everyone understood. Humanity was not aiming to conquer the galaxy. They were aiming to survive, to stand tall, to prove they belonged. Training the new generation. While admirals planned, young cadets trained in massive simulators. In hidden academies on the Moon and Mars, thousands of recruits learned to pilot ships, command squadrons, and operate weapons. The training was intense, designed not for comfort, but for survival. Simulators threw cadets into impossible scenarios, being outnumbered 10 to 1, losing communication, fighting in asteroid fields. In one simulator chamber, Cadet Elena Ramirez gripped her controls tightly as holographic enemy ships swarmed around her. Her small fighter spun, dodging blasts, her breathing steady despite the chaos. "Target locked," she whispered, pressing the trigger. A beam shot forward, striking the lead ship. The hologram exploded in a burst of light. The instructor, watching from above, smiled faintly. "Good, you kept your head. Remember, calm under fire is more dangerous than any weapon." Elena saluted sharply, sweat dripping down her forehead. She knew this was only a simulation, but deep down she also knew the day would come when the enemy would not be holograms. And when that day came, she wanted to be ready. Building in silence, human engineers worked around the clock in shipyards hidden inside asteroids. The yards were enormous caverns carved from rock, filled with half-completed ships. Sparks flew as welding torches sealed hulls. Drones carried heavy parts across scaffolding. Each ship was unique, sleek, angular, built not for beauty, but for efficiency. Instead of copying the Empire's ancient designs, humanity had created new shapes. Sharp edges for better maneuvering, compact reactors for faster energy transfer, weapons designed to fire at strange angles, surprising enemies who expected traditional broadside combat. Dr. Evelyn Grant, chief engineer, walked across the scaffolding with a datapad in hand. "How soon until the stealth modules are ready?" she asked one of her assistants. 2 weeks, the assistant replied, "but the tests are promising. Our ships will appear smaller to their scanners, almost invisible until too late." Dr. Grant smiled. The Empire believed humans were years behind. Soon they would learn that Earth had leaped ahead in ways they never imagined. The quiet watchers, but not all was secret. Across the stars, hidden eyes watched. Senator Carell of the Veyari people received another report. Her assistant handed her the datapad nervously. "Satellite images, Senator." The assistant whispered. "The humans are building more than they admit. Their production rate is unusual." Carell scanned the data. The images were blurry, the distance great, but the evidence was there. Shipyards, training fields, growing colonies. She leaned back in her chair, thoughtful. "The Senate laughs, but I wonder, are we watching the birth of something greater than we realize?" Her assistant hesitated. "Should we warn the Empire?" Carell shook her head slowly. "No, let them laugh. Let them believe the humans are weak. I want to see how far these humans will climb when no one believes in them." Unity of Earth back on Earth. For the first time in history, nations put aside old rivalries. Leaders who once argued now sat at the same table. They knew the galaxy saw them as one species, one planet. To survive, they had to act as one. Factories that once built cars now built engines. Laboratories that once researched medicine now studied alien metals. Universities filled with young minds eager to join the effort. Humanity had been divided for centuries, but the shadow of the Empire forced them to unite. And in that unity, something powerful was born. Admiral Hale's promise late one night. Admiral Hale stood alone in the command center. He looked at the star map, at the tiny blue dot of Earth surrounded by the massive red of the Empire. He whispered softly, almost to himself, "They think we are small. They think we are weak, but when the time comes, we will show them what humanity truly is." His reflection stared back at him from the glass screen, tired eyes lined with age but filled with fire. He knew the road ahead would not be easy. Battles would be fought. Lives would be lost. But he also knew something the Empire did not. Humans never gave up. And in the silence of the underground command center, he made a vow. "We will not bow. We will not break. Earth will rise," the galaxy laughed. Earth prepared. The stage was set. The Galactic Empire had forgotten the meaning of surprise. For centuries, its fleets had dominated the stars. When new civilizations were discovered, they usually came begging for mercy or offering tribute. The Empire was used to obedience. They expected fear, surrender, or silence. What they never expected was defiance, and they certainly never expected humans. The first signs on the far edge of the Empire's borders. A lonely outpost floated above a barren planet. It was small, manned by only a few hundred alien officers. Their job was simple: scan incoming traffic, collect taxes from merchants, and watch for pirates. Nothing important ever happened there. But one morning, alarms began to flash. "Unidentified ships approaching," the scanner officer announced. His 4 eyes widened as strange signals appeared on the screen. No Empire identification codes. No trademarkings, engines. Engines do not match any known design. The commander of the outpost, a tall insectoid being named Relkar, stepped forward. "Pirates?" he asked. The officer shook his head. "No, Commander. Too many ships for pirates. Formation is tight. Discipline is high, and—" His voice shook slightly. "Their energy signatures. I cannot classify them," Relkar frowned. He had been in service for decades, and he had seen every type of ship in the galaxy. But the shapes on the screen were new. They looked sharp, angular, nothing like the rounded designs of most alien fleets. "Open a channel," Relkar ordered. Static filled the speakers at first, then a calm voice broke through. "This is Admiral Jonathan Hale of the United Earth Fleet. We come in peace, but we come as equals. Identify yourself." The command room fell silent. No one spoke. Relkar's mandibles clicked nervously. He recognized the name, Earth. The Senate had mocked them only months ago. Yet here they were, not as a joke, but as a fleet. The Senate learns the news. When the report reached the Galactic Senate, the chamber once again filled with noise. Senators shouted over one another, some in disbelief, others in anger. "They cannot possibly have ships that far out," one senator cried. "Impossible." "Their planet was barely spacefaring," shouted another. The presiding officer slammed his staff against the floor, demanding silence. "Order, we will have order." Finally, the hall grew quieter. The officer turned to the messenger. "Repeat what you said." Slowly. The messenger, trembling under the gaze of thousands, read from his datapad. "Multiple fleets of human ships have been detected near our border. They are organized, well-armed, and disciplined. They claim peaceful intentions, but they demand recognition as equals." The Senate exploded again. "Arrogance. Madness. Destroy them at once." But in the higher rows, Senator Carell listened quietly, her golden eyes sharp. She had warned her people that humans should not be ignored. Now her fears were becoming truth. The Empire sends a fleet. The Empire did not take long to decide. A small fleet of 30 warships was dispatched to teach the humans a lesson. To the Senate, 30 ships were more than enough. The humans, after all, were nothing but newcomers. The fleet's admiral, Lord Zoran, was confident. His war record was decorated with victories against pirates and rebellions. He saw the mission as simple: intimidate the humans, maybe fire a few warning shots and force them to retreat. As his ships entered hyperspace, he laughed with his officers. "This will be over before my evening meal." The encounter in the cold silence of space, the two fleets faced each other. On one side, the Empire's 30 warships, massive, heavy, built for intimidation. On the other side, the human fleet, smaller, sharper, unfamiliar. Admiral Hale stood on the bridge of his flagship, resolute. His crew moved with calm precision. Every officer knew the risk. They were outnumbered in size but not in will. A communication channel opened. Lord Zoran's face appeared smug and dismissive. "Humans," he sneered, "turn your ships around and return to your little planet. The galaxy is no place for children." Hale's voice remained steady. "We did not come here to kneel. We came to stand as equals. We will not turn back." Ziran laughed loudly. "Then you will be destroyed." The channel closed. The Empire's ships powered their weapons. The first shock. The battle began with blazing light. Empire warships unleashed torrents of plasma fire, expecting the humans to crumble. But to their surprise, the human ships moved with impossible speed. Instead of standing still like the Empire's heavy cruisers, the human vessels darted and twisted. Their angular designs allowed sudden turns the aliens had never seen before. Shots that should have hit instead flew into empty space. "Return fire," Hale ordered calmly. Human rail cannons roared, sending beams of energy faster and sharper than the Empire's sensors could track. Explosions ripped across the hull of an enemy cruiser, tearing it apart in seconds. On Ziran's flagship, alarms screamed. His officers panicked. "Admiral, their weapons are... They are piercing our shields." Ziran's smile vanished. "Impossible. No one has ever..." Another explosion shook his ship violently. The humans pressed forward, striking not with random fire but with precise, calculated shots. Every move was deliberate, every formation tight. Where the Empire relied on numbers and tradition, the humans relied on strategy and speed. On the human bridge inside the Resolute, the crew worked like a single machine. Cadet Elena Ramirez, now serving as a tactical officer, tracked enemy positions. "Admiral, their fleet is breaking formation. They do not adapt quickly." Hale nodded. "Exactly as predicted. Maintain pressure. Do not chase. Force them to waste their fire." The battle continued, and the difference became clearer with each passing moment. The Empire's massive ships were strong but slow. They fired in patterns predictable and outdated. The humans studied those patterns long ago. Now they danced around them. The turning point after an hour of fighting. The once proud Empire fleet was in chaos. 10 ships had been destroyed, others damaged, and the rest retreated into disarray. On his flagship, Ziran finally gave the order he never thought he would speak. "Retreat. Retreat now!" His officers looked at him in shock. The great Empire retreating from a world they had mocked. But there was no choice. The humans had proven themselves. The galaxy watches. The news spread faster than light. Traders whispered it first, then smugglers, then official channels. Soon every corner of the galaxy heard the story. The humans had faced the Empire and survived. The humans had defeated an Imperial fleet. In taverns, markets, and military academies, the same question was asked: who are these humans? The Senate in silence back in the Galactic Senate. The chamber was no longer filled with laughter. The presiding officer read the report in a heavy voice. The human fleet engaged our forces. Losses: 12 Imperial warships destroyed, others damaged. Human casualties minimal. The senators sat in stunned silence. The chamber that once echoed with laughter now held only shock. Senator Carell stood slowly. "I warned you," she said quietly, her golden eyes burning. "The humans are not to be mocked. They are not children. They are not weak. They are a storm we did not see coming." The Senate remained silent. For the first time in centuries, the Empire felt something new. Fear. The first battle had shocked the galaxy. The humans had survived the Empire's attack, but that was only the beginning. The Empire, humiliated yet determined, would not allow a single world to rise in defiance. They were vast, experienced, and used to winning. But they had underestimated humanity, and that mistake would cost them dearly. The Empire Strikes Back Lord Ziran returned to the Empire with a fleet barely holding together. Repairs were immediate, strategies were revised, and new officers were brought in. The Senate demanded vengeance. Humiliation was not tolerated. "Humans are reckless," one senator declared, her voice trembling with anger. "They dare to fight us? They must be crushed!" The presiding officer's voice was sharp. "We will not repeat the same mistake. This time the humans will face our full might." Ziran prepared a fleet unlike any other. Hundreds of massive warships, bristling with advanced weapons and escorted by squadrons of fighters, waited in hyperspace. Every captain was ordered to follow strict formations. Every sensor recalibrated. They were confident. The humans had survived one battle, but could they survive hundreds? Humanity prepares on Earth. Admiral Hale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching reports from scouting ships. Humanity had anticipated the Empire's reaction. Every strategy, every tactic, every possible attack had been studied in advance. The Empire will come in full force. Hale said calmly to his officers. They are angry. They are predictable when angry. And we will use that. General Liu leaned forward. We are outnumbered in size, Admiral. Their fleets are immense. Our people may fall. Hale's eyes were steady. Outnumbered does not mean defeated. We fight smart, we fight united, and we fight together. That is our strength. The Empire fights with arrogance. Humans fight with reason and adaptation. Never forget that. The human fleet moves, the Earth fleet left hidden bases and stations forming tight formations. Ships of all sizes moved like living creatures in perfect synchronization. Smaller strike ships were positioned ahead to scout, while heavier cruisers waited behind, ready to unleash devastating fire. Captain Elena Ramirez led one of the advanced squadrons, her fingers flying over controls as she coordinated dozens of ships. Keep formations tight, watch for feints, predict every movement. Even the youngest cadets felt the weight of responsibility. Every move mattered. A single mistake could cost lives, but every correct move could turn the tide of history. The battle begins. When the Empire fleet emerged from hyperspace, the humans were ready. Unlike the first encounter, the humans had the high ground. They controlled positions, prepared ambushes, and had detailed intelligence on the Empire's fleet. Admiral Hale gave the order. Engage. The human fleet moved in, smooth and precise. Their smaller ships darted forward, testing enemy fire. Larger vessels held back, ready to strike where the Empire was weakest. The Empire, confident in its size, advanced in straight lines. Its weapons fired in volleys, expecting the humans to scatter in fear. But the humans did not scatter. They moved together, flowing around attacks, striking at the most vulnerable points. Surprising tactics. The first shock came from the human rail cannons. Unlike traditional energy weapons, these beams moved in strange arcs, making them difficult to dodge. Alien ships designed to block straight attacks were caught off guard. Explosions tore through the Empire fleet. Then the humans revealed another advantage: adaptability. When the Empire tried new formations, the humans adjusted instantly. Every commander on the human side had authority to react independently, creating a coordinated but flexible network. Lord Zeran's frustration grew with each passing moment. They are too precise. They anticipate every move, he shouted. Yes, Admiral, one officer replied nervously. They are using unpredictable maneuvers. It is extraordinary. The Empire was confident, but each new human tactic chipped away at that confidence. Striking the leadership, Hale targeted the Empire's command ships next. Small, fast ships darted between larger vessels, firing precision blasts to disable shields and engines. Human beams struck the command center of a warship and communications went dark. Command compromised, reported one Empire officer. Orders cannot be transmitted clearly. Chaos spread through the fleet. Without coordinated commands, large ships struggled to maneuver. Smaller human ships exploited every gap. Morale and fear morale played a role that the Empire never considered. The humans fought calmly, with unity and focus. Fear did not enter their ranks. They knew the odds were against them, but they trusted their training, their technology, and each other. The Empire, on the other hand, had never faced an enemy like this. Their arrogance had been shattered. Confusion and fear began to ripple through their forces. Ships collided, shots were wasted, and retreat was suggested by many officers. Senator Carell, observing from the safety of her station, whispered, "The humans are not just strong. They are disciplined, clever, and fearless. They are everything the Empire is not." A turning point. After several hours, the battle reached a critical point. The humans had disabled a third of the Empire's fleet without losing a single major ship. The Empire's command structures were in disarray. Hale issued a final order. Focus on their strongest vessels. Target command nodes. Keep pressure constant. Remember, we survive not because of strength, but because of strategy. Elena Ramirez led her squadron in a daring maneuver, weaving through the heaviest fire and striking the flagship of a key enemy admiral. The ship shuddered, sparks flying, then went silent. The Empire fleet faltered. Without leadership, their formations broke. Ships tried to retreat, but humans controlled the escape routes, cutting off their movements with precise blockades. Victory without conquest by the end of the battle. The Empire's forces were battered, humiliated, and retreating. They had suffered losses that would be remembered for decades. The humans had proven themselves not through overwhelming firepower, but through intelligence, adaptability, and unity. Admiral Hale addressed his fleet. We fight for survival. We fight for Earth, but today we fight for respect. Remember this moment. The galaxy now knows humans are not weak. The galaxy now knows Earth stands. The fleet responded with cheers, signals flashing in synchronized patterns across the ships. It was a small victory, but one that resonated across the stars. The Empire reacts back in the Senate. Silence reigned. Senators stared at their reports, unable to comprehend what had happened. The once mocked humans had shattered the Empire's confidence. Lord Zoran faced questioning for hours. Every senator demanded answers. How could 30-year-old human technology outmatch centuries of Empire engineering? How could their fleet survive against superior numbers? Karel stood and addressed the chamber. Do not ignore this. The humans are not to be underestimated. They are not children to be mocked. They are a force unlike anything we have seen. Learn from them or face the same fate. Some senators finally nodded. Fear replaced laughter. The galaxy was no longer certain of its rulers. The legend of humanity grows news spread across trading hubs, colonies, and military academies. Stories of the humans' victory traveled faster than light. The tiny blue planet that had once been laughed at now became a symbol of courage. Intelligence and determination, merchants whispered. Pilots told stories in taverns, and even isolated systems began to rethink their allegiance to the Empire. If the humans could survive, what hope did anyone else have? And across the stars, the humans prepared. They knew the Empire would return, stronger and angrier. But they were ready. They had proven themselves once, and they would do it again. The first clash was over. The Empire had learned a lesson it would not forget. And the humans had only just begun to show what they were capable of. The galaxy had changed. News of the humans' victory spread faster than any transmission had before. Across star systems, traders whispered in secret. Pilots repeated the tale in taverns, and colonies debated quietly in council halls. The tiny blue planet at the edge of known space, once ignored, then mocked, now stood as a symbol of courage, strategy, and unbreakable will. Even within the walls of the Galactic Empire, the laughter that had once filled the Senate was gone. In its place was silence, unease, and a begrudging respect. The Empire had faced humans and realized something it had never expected. The humans were not just survivors, they were equals. The Empire reflects in the Grand Senate. Reports of the battles were read aloud. Charts and images showed the Empire's losses, the efficiency of the human fleet, and the precise tactics that had confounded seasoned admirals. Senators sat motionless, staring at the data. Lord Zoran, the admiral who had once laughed at the humans, now sat quietly, his mandibles twitching in frustration. They adapted too quickly, he muttered. Every tactic we expected, they countered. Every weakness we assumed, they exploited. A nearby senator, insectoid and solemn, spoke. They fought not with arrogance, but with calculation. They moved as one. They turned their disadvantages into strength. This is unprecedented. Zoran's eyes narrowed. Unprecedented indeed. I underestimated them. I will never do so again, and yet deep down even he could not deny it. Humanity had earned respect. Karel's warning, Senator Karel of the Vayari people, stood before the council, her golden eyes calm but piercing. Do not mistake our shock for weakness, she said. The humans are not here to kneel. They are not here to beg. They are here to claim their place among the stars. The Empire must understand this now, or risk facing them again unprepared. Her words caused murmurs throughout the chamber. Many senators were too proud to admit it openly, but Karel knew that the truth was felt by all. They have taught us something crucial, she continued. Strength is not measured by size alone. Intelligence, unity, and adaptability are equally powerful. The humans embody these qualities. We ignore them at our own peril. The chamber fell silent again. Even the presiding officer had no reply. The humans had changed the rules of the galaxy in a single year. Humanity's message across the void. The humans did not celebrate with arrogance. Admiral Hale addressed his fleet over the communication channels. Today we have proven our ability to survive, to protect our people, and to be recognized as equals. But let us remember why we fight. Not for conquest, not for pride, but for unity, for survival, and for respect. We extend our hands peacefully to all who wish to join us in cooperation. To those who oppose us, we will defend ourselves. Humanity does not seek war, but we will not bow. The message traveled across light years. Traders recorded it. Pilots spread it. The galaxy listened. Humans had not only survived, they had set the standard for courage and fairness. Preparing for the future on Earth, preparations continued. Scientists studied alien technology captured during the skirmishes. Engineers improved ships, and academies trained a new generation of pilots. The people understood one thing clearly: victory was not a reason to be complacent. The Empire had been humiliated once, but it would return stronger. And when it did, humanity would be ready. Admiral Hale walked the command deck of the Resolute, observing his crew. Every officer moved with calm purpose. Every cadet trained tirelessly. "We fight not because we hate," Hale said quietly to General Liu. "We fight because we must survive, and because we believe the galaxy can be better if we show its strength with honor." General Liu nodded. "They will respect us, or they will learn to." Hale's gaze turned to the stars. "And we will make sure they respect us without needing to destroy worlds." That is the true power of humanity. The Empire's reckoning back in the Empire, the shock of defeat caused political ripples. Some senators called for reform, strategists to study human tactics, engineers to analyze their ships, and fleets to prepare for new types of warfare. Others called for vengeance, refusing to accept defeat. Yet even they could not ignore what had happened. The humans had demonstrated qualities that were rare in the galaxy: unity, intelligence, adaptability, and bravery. Lord Ziran, still recovering from the humiliation, convened his remaining officers. "We face a new reality," he said. "The humans are not to be underestimated. Every fleet, every strategy, every assumption must be reconsidered. We may be older, but we are no longer invincible." For the first time in millennia, the Empire realized that history could not repeat itself. The galaxy was changing and humanity was at its center. The galactic reaction in distant systems, whispers became conversations. Traders shared stories of human courage, pilots told them across radio channels, and governors quietly advised caution. "Do not dismiss Earth," one governor said to a council. "Their fleets are small, but their discipline is unmatched. Their strategy is precise. Underestimate them and you will fail." Even some smaller empires, once vassals of the Galactic Empire, began reconsidering their loyalties. If the humans could challenge the Empire and survive, perhaps they could challenge the old order in other ways too. Humanity's reputation. The legend of humans grew. They were no longer a primitive, backward race. They were thinkers, fighters, and survivors. They represented hope to some and fear to others, but most importantly, they represented a new standard in the galaxy. Across planets, alien children heard stories of the humans who had dared to stand against the mightiest empire. Academies taught their tactics. Historians recorded their courage. Humanity's name became synonymous with bravery, ingenuity, and resilience. Even the merchants who had once sold toys mocking humans now quietly adjusted their products. Small human ships, sleek and elegant, symbolizing triumph rather than failure. A new era on the edge of space. Admiral Hale observed the human fleet as it moved back to Earth. He could feel the weight of history pressing on their shoulders. This was more than a battle, it was a turning point. "We have earned respect," he said to his officers, "but respect is not given forever. We must continue to prove ourselves. The galaxy watches. Every choice we make now shapes the future." General Liu smiled faintly. "And the galaxy will remember that Earth does not kneel." Hale nodded. "Exactly. Humanity stands, and we will continue to stand, not because we are invincible, but because we are united." The Empire learns respect in the Imperial Senate. Senator Carrel finally saw a change. Conversations that once mocked humans now included serious debate about alliances, strategies, and observation. Some officers suggested joint training exercises to learn from humans. Others quietly acknowledged that humans had redefined what power meant in the galaxy. Carrel leaned back in her chair, watching the senators argue. A small, satisfied smile appeared on her face. "They have earned respect," she whispered, "and they will continue to earn it." The galaxy is learning, slowly, that humanity is a force not to be dismissed. Conclusion. The humans returned to Earth, victorious but humble. The people celebrated quietly, knowing their journey had only just begun. They had proven themselves to the galaxy, but there was more work ahead. Exploration, defense, diplomacy. All would be needed to secure humanity's place among the stars. The Galactic Empire, once confident in its superiority, had learned a lesson in humility. Laughter had turned to shock, shock to respect, and the galaxy itself had changed. Humanity had arrived, not as conquerors, but as equals. A new era had begun, one of hope, courage, and the undeniable truth that even the smallest planet could shape the fate of the stars. The galaxy would never forget the day humans showed that bravery, intelligence, and unity could challenge even the mightiest empire, and neither would humanity.